Back in May 2017, this guy Mortimer Saunders got caught on camera. What's he carrying? A heavy-looking plastic bag. Turns out that bag held the body of 3-year-old Courtney Peters. Yeah, a tiny little girl. This dude Saunders was a tenant in her mom's house and he claims Courtney was annoying him. Apparently, she woke him up wanting to watch TV in his room. So this monster mixed X and poison into her water, suffocated her, stuffed her in a plastic bag, and dumped her body at a site nearby. Then he just walked home like nothing happened, carrying only the weight of his horrible crimes. He ended up pleading guilty to murder and admitted he'd sexually assaulted her and got 2 life sentences.
He has also admitted to necrophilia but denies raping the girl before killing her. Mortimer also confessed to poisoning the child using ant poison, but the state has refused to accept his admissions. The little girl's body was found near her home last year after she had been missing for 9 days.
On April 4, 2020, Ernest Wilson unknowingly live-streamed his final moments during a house party. The 24-year-old warehouse worker from Baltimore, Maryland, had a passion for partying, playing board games, and turning them into drinking games. However, with the 2020 pandemic shutting down all his usual hangouts, he devised a plan to keep the festivities going. Renting Airbnbs, he hosted exclusive invite-only gatherings referred to as game nights, charging a small fee to cover expenses. These parties, initially small, rapidly grew in popularity as more people became aware of them. On April 3, Ernest took to Facebook to gauge interest, asking his followers if he should host another game night that weekend. After receiving enthusiastic responses, he announced a 2-day event with free entry for women and a $5 charge for men. Concerned about uninvited guests, he posted a warning stating that anyone not personally invited would be turned away. Whether due to past issues or simply a desire to manage the crowd, his caution, in hindsight, would prove eerily justified. As the night unfolded, everything seemed to go as planned. Guests danced, drank, and enjoyed themselves. But at around 2:30 a.m., the mood shifted when a group decided to play hide and seek. Ernest volunteered as a first seeker, stepping into the Airbnb's backyard to begin counting.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
As he searched for his friends, he unexpectedly came across an unknown figure attempting to climb over the fence.
1, 2, 3. Who the is that, G?
I don't know. I'm in your face.
Get your on the other side of this gate. Who the? This can't be one of my friends.
Confused and slightly intoxicated, he instinctively confronted the intruder rather than retreating inside to call the police. The situation escalated quickly. The intruder was armed. A struggle ensued, and before anyone could react, gunshots rang out. The chilling moment was captured on Ernest's live stream, his voice filled with shock before it abruptly cut off.
On the ground. Hey, Pie!
Police arrived at the scene at 2:45 a.m., discovering Ernest lying in a pool of blood. Official reports suggested a robbery gone wrong, but online speculation hinted at a deeper plot. In the background of the live stream, a girl could be heard laughing, fueling theories that she may have been involved.
Hey, Pie!
Some believed she had lured the intruder inside or intentionally unlocked the door before directing him to hop the fence. A comment on YouTube even suggested investigating her boyfriend. Despite various theories, no suspect was ever apprehended, and Ernest's case remains unsolved to this day. 5 years later, the true motive behind that tragic night remains a mystery, leaving his loved ones and online followers with more questions than answers. The death of Daniel Shaver remains one of the most disturbing cases of police use of force caught on camera. The 26-year-old father of 2 was shot and killed by police in the hallway of a La Quinta hotel near Phoenix, Arizona in January 2016. The footage of his final moments, only released to the public later, sparked outrage and debate about excessive force.
You do that again, we're shooting you, do you understand?
Please do not shoot me.
Then listen to my instructions!
I'm trying to do what you...
Don't talk!
Shaver, an exterminator on a work trip, had been drinking in his hotel room when police were called about a report that someone was pointing a gun out of a window. That gun turned out to be a pellet rifle Shaver used for his job.
I'm not staying in that room.
Yeah, his name, Daniel Shaver.
When officers arrived, they ordered Shaver and a young woman he had met at the hotel to exit the room.
Stop right there! Stop! Stop! Get on the ground, both of you!
The body cam footage shows Shaver sobbing and pleading for his life as officers bark confusing and contradictory commands.
I said, keep your legs crossed!
I'm sorry.
Hands straight up in the air. Do not put your hands down for any reason. Your hands go back in the small of your back or down. We are going to shoot you. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
They tell him to crawl towards them, but also warn that if he makes one wrong move, he will be shot.
Crawl towards me. Crawl towards me!
Yes, sir.
At one point, Shaver, appearing panicked and disoriented, reaches toward his waistband, possibly to pull up his loose-fitting basketball shorts. In that split second, Officer Philip Brailsford opens fire, killing him. Despite the shocking footage, Brailsford was charged only with second-degree manslaughter and was later acquitted.
Not guilty.
Shaver's widow, Lainey, called his death an execution and continues to demand justice. She has shared videos of Shaver playing with their 2 children, emphasizing the loss of a loving father.
What happened was wrong. And I hope one day justice will come and the Mesa Police Department will give me answers for why they killed him.
Crawl towards me. Crawl towards me!
Yes, sir.
Many experts and former officers have criticized the way police handled the situation, arguing that Shaver was given unrealistic commands in a high-stress moment. Instead of calmly detaining him, officers escalated the situation to a tragic and unnecessary death. The case has since become a haunting example of police violence and the legal system's failure to hold officers accountable. Though years have passed, the footage continues to be a chilling reminder of how quickly an encounter with law enforcement can turn fatal. The CCTV footage shows what appeared to be an ordinary night out, until it turned into a nightmare for 18-year-old Lily Sullivan. Lily had gone out to enjoy herself but unknowingly crossed paths with a man who had deadly intentions. The man was 31-year-old refinery worker Louis Haynes, whom she met at the Out nightclub in Pembroke on December 16th. In the early hours of the morning, they left the club together. CCTV captures them walking, with Haynes leading Lily toward a secluded alleyway. What happened next was a tragic escalation. The two shared a kiss, but when Lily refused to have sex with him, Haynes became enraged. He forcibly removed her top, strangled her, and then dumped her body in a nearby pond. Moments later, CCTV captures Haynes walking out the alley alone, likely leaving Lily behind lifeless. Despite pleading guilty to her murder, Haynes insisted his actions weren't sexually motivated. However, the evidence painted a different picture. His violent response to rejection ultimately led to a life sentence, though he will have the possibility of parole. Lily Sullivan's murder is yet another chilling case of violence against women, where an ordinary night out ended in a senseless and brutal loss of life. Ivan Maguire was an experienced skydiver with over 800 successful jumps to his name. He was also passionate about filming his jumps, capturing the thrill of freefall to relive the experience later. But tragically, on one fateful day in April 1988, his passion turned into his downfall. Excitedly filming another skydiver exiting the plane, Ivan followed right behind them, leaping into the open sky. But within seconds, a horrifying realization set in. He had forgotten one crucial thing: his parachute. Plummeting 10,000 feet toward the ground, Ivan's final moments were caught on camera. His last recorded words? "Oh my God, no."
It was to be his third jump of the day. The veteran jumper had been shooting tape with a specially rigged camera when he jumped this last time. Then, to his horror, the cameraman realized that he was without a parachute. And well out of reach of the other jumpers, these images are the very last he ever recorded.
His body was later discovered in the woods, about a mile and a half from the Franklin County Sports Parachute Center, where the plane had taken off. A devastating reminder that even the most experienced thrill seekers can make fatal mistakes. Police in Canada are searching for a man caught on camera shooting a woman outside her home in broad daylight. The shocking attack was captured by the victim's home surveillance system in New York region. Footage shows a suspect arriving in a dark-colored Audi sedan, dressed in a high-visibility vest and hard hat, possibly to avoid suspicion. At first, he appeared to engage the woman in casual conversation, even taking notes as if surveying the property. But as she turns to walk back inside, everything changes. The man suddenly pulls out a handgun and fires, but the gun jams. He frantically tries again, successfully shooting the woman before fleeing the scene. The suspect got back into his car and sped off, leaving his victim wounded. Fortunately, she survived and was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police described the shooter as a slim-built Asian male and are urging anyone with information to come forward. In December 2022, authorities in Northern Ireland were confronted with a perplexing crime scene that initially seemed impossible. The primary suspect appeared to be in two places at once. The case began on December 18th when Irish YouTuber Stephen McCullough, known online as VoteSaxon07, live-streamed himself playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City. His stream, which started at 6 p.m. and lasted for 6 hours, seemed ordinary, mostly silent gameplay with occasional commentary. However, while he was broadcasting from the comfort of his home, a horrifying crime was unfolding elsewhere. That same evening, Stephen's girlfriend, Natalie McNally, had spent time at her parents' house watching the World Cup final. After the match ended, she returned to her home in Lurgan, where she lived alone with her pets. The following day, concern grew when she failed to respond to calls and messages, did not show up for work, and remained unreachable. At 15 weeks pregnant with Stephen's child, her sudden silence alarmed her family and friends. When Stephen learned of her absence and failed attempts to contact her, he decided to check on her himself. Upon arriving at her home, he discovered the door wide open. Instead, he found Natalie lifeless on the floor. She had been brutally attacked, showing multiple stab wounds and defensive injuries.
Detectives from the Major Investigation Team have now launched a murder investigation following the death of Natalie McNally in Lurgan. This follows the results of the post-mortem. The 32-year-old died a violent death, having been stabbed a number of times, and there are signs of defensive injuries.
Detectives launched a murder investigation, quickly focusing on Stephen due to his proximity to the victim and the fact that he was the one who reported the crime. However, his alibi appeared airtight. The post-mortem report placed Natalie's time of death during the same period that Stephen had been streaming live from his home. A text message exchange between the two further supported his claims. Just before the stream began, Stephen had messaged Natalie saying he was about to start broadcasting, to which she had responded that she might tune in later. Despite clearing him initially, investigators struggled to find leads. CCTV footage later revealed a figure matching Stephen's height and build, approaching Natalie's home at 8:52 p.m. and leaving about 40 minutes later. This cast renewed suspicion on him, but it still left the baffling question of how he could be in two places at once. As the investigation continued, authorities even offered a £20,000 reward for information. Meanwhile, Natalie's murder gained widespread media attention, with memorials held in her honor. Weeks passed with no breakthroughs until a significant piece of evidence surfaced. On January 31, 2023, Stephen was arrested again, this time with undeniable proof. Investigators discovered that his supposed livestream had been entirely pre-recorded. The footage had been filmed 4 days earlier, on December 14th, and was merely broadcasted on the night of Natalie's murder to create the illusion of an alibi. Further damning evidence came from a taxi driver who recalled picking up a passenger matching Stephen's description near Natalie's home around 9:30 p.m. The passenger had forgotten his wallet and briefly ran into a house, Stephen's home, to retrieve money for the fare. Once investigators pieced everything together, they realized the extent of Stephen's deception. In hindsight, his fake live stream had contained multiple disturbing clues. The stream's title, The Violent Night Christmas Live Gaming Stream, took on a chilling significance. Early in the broadcast, Stephen claimed to be experiencing technical issues that prevented him from interacting with viewers, ensuring that no one could question his lack of engagement.
Well, because this streaming software is kind of up the left, it means I can't check the live chat, which is a real shame. So, by all means, talk amongst yourselves.
He also repeatedly mentioned the date, as if reinforcing his alibi.
Oh, hello to all on this glorious Sunday evening. So I just thought, why not? I'm gonna do a live stream, because this day next week is Christmas. So what more could you want for Christmas other than an evening with your old pal Steve?
Throughout the recording, there were cryptic references, including a moment where he sang about needing to take her down in the game.
I need to kill it. I need to take her down. 'Cause I won't pass the mission if I don't get this to die. Tra-la-la.
And another where he laughed unusually hard at a pun that resembled Natalie's name.
Yeah, that's physics. That's what would happen in the real world. Absolutely. Notly. Absolutely notly.
Perhaps the most unsettling moment came when, during a break in the stream, a graphic from the James Bond movie No Time to Die suddenly appeared. The timing of this graphic, around 9:15 p.m., coincided almost exactly with when he had been at Natalie's home. With overwhelming evidence against him, Stephen was charged with murder and denied bail. He now awaits trial, scheduled for May 6, 2025, for Natalie's loved ones. The revelation of the truth brought a measure of closure, but justice remains incomplete until the case reaches its final verdict. In January 2010, a brutal crime shocked the quiet community of Conyers, Georgia. 16-year-old identical twins, Jasmia and Tasmia Whitehead, were seen entering their school in what appeared to be an ordinary moment. However, what the footage did not reveal was the horrific crime they had committed just hours earlier.
It wasn't like it was a fight on the street. It was more of a fight till somebody died.
Their mother, 34-year-old Jarmeka Nikki Whitehead, was found dead in the bathroom of her home. She had been viciously attacked, beaten with a vase, and stabbed multiple times. Initially, the twins denied any involvement, pleading not guilty. However, as the investigation unfolded, overwhelming evidence confirmed that they were responsible for the murder.
My chest, like I said, I'm not that big, so when she bit me, she latched on to me, and I'm trying to get her off of me because it hurts. I'm trying to punch her, I guess. And I think Tad stabbed her. She stabbed her. She went under a couple times, and that was it.
When that was it, I'm gonna use your words, when that was it, what'd you and your sister do?
I guess we were shocked. We were really relieved, I guess, what we did. We cried. I cried for a long time.
Faced with the undeniable proof, Jasmia and Tasmia eventually changed their pleas to guilty, accepting charges of voluntary manslaughter. They were each sentenced to 30 years in prison, though they may be eligible for parole as early as 2026. On October 28, 2019, a 47-year-old Japanese man named Tetsu Shiohara set out to climb Mount Fuji while live streaming the experience. What was meant to be an adventurous broadcast quickly turned into a tragic and avoidable disaster. Tetsu had been climbing Mount Fuji since 2017 and had successfully reached the summit multiple times. However, all of his previous ascents took place during the official climbing season, which lasts from July to mid-September. During those months, the trails are well maintained, the weather is milder, and resting huts along the way offer essential supplies like food and oxygen cans. But this time was different. Attempting the climb in late October meant facing treacherous condition, thick snow, extreme cold, and powerful winds, reaching up to 60 miles per hour. The resting stations were also closed for the off-season, leaving no safe refuge along the way. Despite having no prior experience climbing Fuji in the off-season, Tetsu was determined to reach the summit and descend in a single day. However, his journey was plagued by mistakes from the start. He had forgotten essential gear, such as thicker socks for warmth and crampons to prevent slipping on the ice.
Socks. 靴下。あれ？靴下忘れた。いや違う。バス。何が？ちょっと待って。
Later in the stream, he also admitted that he hadn't brought any food, opting to keep his backpack light. As he climbed higher, the deep snow and unstable terrain proved to be far more dangerous than he had anticipated. Around 2 hours into the hike, his viewers became increasingly concerned, noticing the worsening conditions and urging him to turn back. Along the way, he had passed collapsed sections of the trail, clear signs of the mountain's dangerous state. Despite the warnings from both his audience and the last few hikers he encountered, he continued pushing forward, determined to reach the summit. Against all odds, he managed to get close to the top. However, just as he navigated a particularly steep section of the trail, disaster struck. He slipped, tumbling down the mountainside. His phone hit a rock just seconds later, abruptly ending the live stream. His viewers, horrified by what they had just witnessed, immediately alerted authorities. However, the severe weather conditions delayed rescue efforts, and it took 2 days for search teams to locate his body. He was found 2,300 feet below the point where he had slipped, his remains severely dismembered from the fall. To most, this was a tragic case of an inexperienced climber underestimating the dangers of Mount Fuji's off-season. However, some theorists question whether this was truly an accident. Some pointed out that during the stream, Tetsu made several remarks that suggested he was aware of his lack of preparation, yet he pressed on regardless. He had multiple opportunities to turn back and even received warnings from other climbers along the way. Some speculated that his missing equipment and decision to continue were not simple oversights but deliberate choices. While there is no concrete evidence to support the theory that Tetsu intended for this to be his final climb, the circumstances surrounding his fatal ascent continue to raise questions. Ultimately, the truth behind his final moments remains a mystery. These haunting images capture the final moments of Jose Onfroy, better known as XXXTentacion, on June 18, 2018. The 20-year-old rapper was tragically shot and killed by 22-year-old Michael Boatwright in what was meant to be a robbery. Boatwright, along with 3 accomplices, had been following Onfroy that day, tracking him to Riva Motorsports in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Their plan was to ambush and rob him. As Onfroy left the dealership and got into his car, the attackers blocked his vehicle, trapping him outside the store. They attempted to steal his designer chain and other valuables, but when he resisted, the situation turned violent. A struggle ensued, and Boatwright fired a fatal shot into Onfroy's chest. During the attack, Onfroy's step-uncle, who had been in the car with him, managed to escape, running for his life as the gunmen took off. Though he survived, Onfroy was not as fortunate. The bullet had struck his aorta, and he bled to death before paramedics could save him. Following an extensive investigation, Boatwright was arrested and later sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms, plus an additional 30 years, without the possibility of parole. His 3 accomplices were also convicted and are now behind bars. The brutal and senseless murder of XXXTentacion sent shockwaves through the music industry, leaving fans mourning the loss of a young artist whose career had only just begun. On September 7, 2024, a 32-year-old man named Joseph Couch launched a terrifying attack along I-75 near London, Kentucky, opening fire on passing vehicles. In the chaos, he managed to strike 12 cars, injuring 5 people. Miraculously, there were no fatalities. As law enforcement rushed to the scene, Joseph fled into the dense woodland beside the highway, prompting a large-scale search operation that would eventually lead investigators deep into the Daniel Boone National Forest. As the manhunt intensified, authorities began digging into Joseph's background and uncovered disturbing details about his past. He had served in the Army Reserve from 2013 to 2019 before receiving an honorable discharge due to PTSD. His history with law enforcement, however, was even more concerning. In 2015, he was arrested for an incident involving animal cruelty and threatening behavior, throwing a rock at a dog and then pointing an AR-15 at its owner. Though he was released on a $1,000 bail, the case was ultimately dismissed. Later that same year, he was arrested again, this time for supplying alcohol to a minor and vandalizing private property. The second offense resulted in a 6-month jail sentence, 200 hours of community service, and a $1,500 fine. Further investigation revealed even more chilling evidence. Prior to the highway shooting, Joseph had sent ominous messages to his ex, stating his intentions to take as many lives as possible before turning the gun on himself. The contents of these messages, combined with his criminal record, made it clear that if authorities found him, he wouldn't surrender without a fight. However, tracking him down proved more difficult than anticipated.
The search for the suspected highway gunman, Joseph Couch, intensifies as law enforcement has expanded its search efforts. State police say they are extending their search deeper into the Daniel Boone National Forest as the manhunt for Couch enters day 7.
As days passed, law enforcement expanded the search deeper into the Daniel Boone National Forest, closing sections of I-75 and even shutting down local schools out of fear that Joseph might strike again. Eventually, they discovered his abandoned SUV filled with cases of ammunition for the AR-15 style rifle he had used in the attack. Despite this find, there was still no sign of Joseph himself. Desperate for leads, authorities put up a $35,000 reward for information, hoping to enlist the help of local residents. This is where Fred and Sheila McCoy enter the picture. The couple operated a museum dedicated to the historic Hatfield-McCoy feud in Kentucky and ran a small YouTube channel, Hatfield-McCoy Museum Adventures, where they explored local history. Enticed by the reward, they decided to join the search, believing their deep knowledge of the area would give them an edge.
$35,000. That's a sweet little piece of money. We're going looking for him. We're hoping he finds us, but we're going looking for this Couch guy, Joseph Couch.
Broadcasting their efforts live on YouTube, they ventured into the forest, determined to find Joseph. Their persistence paid off. During one of their live-streamed expeditions, Fred noticed a group of vultures circling in the distance, a sign that something or someone had died. The couple made their way toward the site, and after a grueling 30-minute trek through the rugged wilderness, they stumbled upon what they had been looking for.
You found him? Oh, my Lanta. I'm coming. Oh, my Lanta, you found him? Oh, my Lanta.
Joseph Couch was dead, his body already deteriorating, lay in the woods where he had seemingly followed through on his grim promise to end his own life. Shocked but resolute, the McCoys immediately alerted the authorities. A later autopsy and DNA analysis confirmed the body was indeed Joseph, officially bringing the 13-day-long manhunt to an end. With this discovery, the fear and uncertainty that had gripped the local community finally eased, closing the chapter on a tragic and violent event that had left the region on edge. The chilling surveillance video captures the final moment of Jessica Torres, a millionaire businesswoman desperately trying to outrun an assassin. She frantically circles her luxury SUV fighting for her life before making a final attempt to escape, but the cold-blooded killer shows no mercy. Gunshots ring out and Jessica collapses to the pavement. Jessica, a 44-year-old real estate mogul with a vast commercial empire across Southern California, had just pulled into a parking lot in San Bernardino for an early lunch at her favorite fast food restaurant. Moments later, her life was stolen in a brutal execution. Initially, police suspected a robbery gone wrong, but as the investigation deepened, a far more sinister motive emerged. A murder-for-hire plot. The surveillance footage reveals the horrifying sequence of events. Jessica walks out of the restaurant and heads toward her $175,000 Mercedes G-Wagon, completely unaware that death is closing in. A dark SUV suddenly pulls up behind her, blocking her exit. A masked man steps out from the passenger seat and confronts her. He snatches her purse and without hesitation pulls the trigger. Miraculously, the bullet misses. But Jessica doesn't surrender. She fights back. In a desperate struggle, she lunges at the gunman, attempting to wrestle the weapon away. A good Samaritan rushes out of the restaurant to help, but flees in terror as the assassin fires another shot, then begins a terrifying chase around her vehicle. The gunman fires again and again, 9 times in total. The relentless attack leaves Jessica lifeless in the parking lot. Within 4 hours, police, with the help of surveillance footage and witness testimonies, tracked down the shooter and his getaway driver. But the biggest shock was yet to come. The suspects weren't random criminals. 2 of them had direct ties to Jessica's estranged husband, 53-year-old Sergio Relis. Investigators soon uncovered the horrifying truth. This wasn't a random act of violence. Jessica had been stalked for months. Her every move watched as her killers planned her execution. SWAT teams moved in swiftly, raiding a home in San Bernardino to arrest Relis and his accomplices.
Definitely a murder-for-hire case. There is evidence to show that the suspects did stalk our victim for several days and months prior to this murder.
Police charged the husband and 4 other men with Jessica's murder, calling it a meticulously planned hit. The motive? Jessica and Relis had been locked in a bitter 2-year divorce battle. Despite overwhelming evidence, all 5 suspects have pleaded not guilty to the crime. As the case unfolds, one question remains: will justice be served for Jessica Torres? In 2014, a man walked into a packed movie theater and carried out a horrific act of violence, taking the lives of 12 innocent people. Now, years later, a chilling psychiatrist interview recorded after his arrest has been made public. The purpose of the evaluation was to determine whether he was mentally fit to stand trial, but what it reveals is far more disturbing, a haunting glimpse into the mind of a killer. The most unsettling part of the interview is his complete lack of emotion. There's no anger, no sadness, not even a flicker of regret. Instead, he appears trapped in a state of detached indifference, as if the weight of his crimes doesn't even register.
No, I wasn't very nervous. I was prepared.
Exhilaration or?
No, none of that.
Caution or?
No.
The psychiatrist, trying to piece together his motives, struggles to understand what was going through his mind in those final moments before he opened fire. Yet one detail stands out, something that adds another layer of tragedy to an already devastating event. Just minutes before walking into the theater, James made a call to an emergency hotline. He reached out, but no one answered.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything for 9 seconds, and then it hung up.
Could that single phone call have changed everything? Maybe they wouldn't have been able to talk him down, but at the very least, they could have traced his location and sent law enforcement to intervene. Instead, the call went unanswered, and the horror unfolded. It's a sickening thought how many lives might have been saved if someone had simply picked up the phone. In 2013, what was supposed to be a routine building demolition in Russia quickly turned into a tragic disaster. Among the workers on site was 29-year-old Evgeny Tito, who decided to record the event on his cell phone during his lunch break. From what he believed was a safe distance, he watched as a bulldozer tore into an old brick structure. At first, everything seemed to go as planned, until the building suddenly gave way. In mere seconds, an avalanche of bricks came crashing down. The workers in front of Tito managed to scramble to safety, but he wasn't as lucky. The impact was catastrophic. Tito suffered a crushed skull, broken ribs, a fractured pelvis, and several internal injuries. In the footage, his coworkers can be seen rushing to his side, desperately trying to help, but despite their efforts, he succumbed to his injuries soon after. What started as a routine demolition ended in a horrifying tragedy, one that serves as a grim reminder of how quickly disaster can strike. In 2017, 19-year-old Raymond Cabalin Jr. set out on a hiking trip with friends along the scenic Lake Clementine Trail near Auburn, California. The group was in high spirits, recording their adventure on video, laughing and capturing the moment.
This is what happened, guys. We're over here, hiking trip, Jose, Carmen, Ray. I'm gonna record you on mine. And me, bro. Hey, what's up? Say what's up, bro. What's good? All right, wait a second. What date is it? 2017? 2017, the 11th, May 11th. The 11th, all right. We about to... Wait, I'm gonna record this. This is memories right here. Hey, so we got my cousin, we got my boy Ray. All right, Ray, go for it. Do it, Ray, go.
As they reached a river, they decided to take turns jumping into the water. The camera rolled as one of Raymond's friends hyped up the moment. With that, Raymond and a girl from the group leaped into the rushing water. The girl, shocked by the icy temperature and powerful current, quickly scrambled onto nearby rocks to safety. But Raymond wasn't as fortunate. He had jumped too far. Despite being in great shape, the freezing water and relentless current overpowered him. His friends could only watch in horror as he was swept away. For 2 agonizing weeks, there was no sign of Raymond until another hiker made a grim discovery 3 miles downstream. His lifeless body had been carried away by the very river he had excitedly plunged into. Raymond's story serves as a heartbreaking reminder of nature's unforgiving power and how a moment of thrill can turn into a tragedy in the blink of an eye. On July 22, 2018, security cameras at an apartment complex in Brazil captured the chilling final moments of Tatiana Spitzner before she was brutally murdered by her husband, Louis Monf. The footage begins with the couple arriving home in the early hours of the morning, their tense body language suggesting a heated argument. Moments later, Tatiana makes a desperate attempt to escape, running from Louis, but he quickly catches up to her in the elevator. She struggles trying to break free, but he overpowers her. The last time she is seen alive, Louis forces her onto the floor and drags her into their apartment. 20 minutes later, Louis re-emerges from the apartment, his clothes stained with blood. In a panic, he begins wiping down the elevator in a futile attempt to erase the evidence. What happened behind closed doors was even more horrifying. Tatiani's body had been thrown from the couple's fourth-floor balcony, but Lewis didn't leave her there. Instead, he carried her lifeless body back inside, later claiming she had jumped. However, an autopsy would expose his lies. Tatiani had died from asphyxia. Lewis was ultimately sentenced to more than 31 years in prison for her murder, but no sentence could undo the devastating loss of Tatiani's life at the hands of someone she once trusted. In October 2019, a 6-year-old boy made a desperate 911 call, pleading for help as his mother tried to kill him. What followed was a tragic and violent confrontation that ended in fatal gunfire.
Henderson 911, what is the address of the emergency?
2222 Summers Heights Park.
Okay, and what is your...
My mom's trying to kill me. They're trying to kill each other. They're making us do it.
Okay, ma'am, is it an apartment complex?
2222 Building 22.
Okay, what's the name of the apartment complex? You're giving me an apartment number, not an address.
We're probably around it. We gotta kill each other. We're going out.
Ma'am, what is the name of the apartment complex?
It's apartment 2222 Building 22.
I know, but what apartment complex are you in? You're not giving me an address. You're just giving me a unit number. I'm sorry? Equestrian. Okay.
I know.
The one at 10701 Southeastern?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your name?
Nadia.
Help me. Okay. What's going on?
No, they're making me kill each other.
On October 21st at 12:11 p.m., Henderson police responded to a distress call from an apartment complex on Southeastern Avenue in Las Vegas. When officers arrived, they found a young boy covered in blood. He had suffered 25 stab wounds, including a severe injury to his neck that nearly severed his carotid artery. Miraculously, he was still alive. Inside the apartment, officers encountered 37-year-old Claudia Nadia Rodriguez. She was holding a pair of scissors and, in a disturbing act of self-inflicted harm, stabbed herself in the chest while repeatedly saying they had to kill her. As police attempted to restrain her, she managed to grab an officer's Glock 17 handgun. She fired once, striking a couch, before another officer, Edward Little, reacted, firing 2 shots, one of which struck her in the head. Rodriguez was rushed to Sunrise Trauma Hospital but did not survive. The young boy, however, was taken to University Medical Center, where he underwent emergency surgery and was expected to make a full recovery. A bloody knife was found in the master bedroom, and the mattress was soaked in blood, evidence of the horrifying ordeal that unfolded before police arrived. Neighbors expressed shock and heartbreak, though some admitted they had previously witnessed Rodriguez yelling at her son in public. No reports of abuse had ever been filed. An autopsy later revealed that Rodriguez had no drugs in her system at the time of her death. Authorities believed she was suffering from a severe mental breakdown that led her to attack her own child. Officer Little was placed on routine administrative leave while the shooting was investigated. It was announced that neither officer involved would face criminal charges. A tragic case of mental instability and violence, this heartbreaking incident highlights the importance of early intervention for those struggling with their mental health before irreversible devastation occurs. The aftermath of a horrifying tragedy was captured on a Ring doorbell camera as 52-year-old David Cantaras spoke to his wife, confessing that he had just fatally shot their son. His voice was eerily calm as he explained that 21-year-old Eric was no longer breathing.
What? Is he alive? Is he breathing?
He's not breathing. He's dead.
But why, David? Why?
The fighting on the way home was unbearable, and we got here, and just from one second to the next, he was going to go to the Keys, he was going to go with Jacob, he was going to fight girls. Would it be okay if girls go and sleep over? I said no, and I told him no, and I was going to go over there tonight and make sure. He says, well, all right. You know, it's not your fault, Odie.
Julie heard you.
Moments later, police body cam footage captured David's arrest. He admitted to officers that he was responsible for his son's death. According to the arrest report, Eric had been shot multiple times, though the exact motive remains unclear.
Oh my God!
What was in the house?
No one! Just me and him!
No one's in the house.
No!
What are you calling? What are you calling for?
I shot my son.
Come on, let's go.
He's right there. Right, walk right. Oh my.
Where's your son?
Walk right in. Walk right in. 10 feet straight in.
What's your son's name?
Eric.
Eric.
David Contaros has since been charged with second-degree murder as investigators work to piece together the details of what led to the fatal shooting.
From all the evidence that I've heard, this was an execution-type murder. I know the state wants me to keep him in, but I can't get over the fact that this was an isolated incident. It doesn't pose a danger to the community at large. So therefore, I'm going to grant release. No outburst. He's going to be in total lockdown.
In December 2023, a routine traffic stop in Warren, Michigan, took a devastating turn that no one saw coming. It all started when police pulled over a red Chevrolet Cruze for a simple traffic violation.
The window broke.
Can you put the car in park?
Here's the park.
So the reason I stopped you is because the plate's expired on the car.
The officer asked the driver for some ID, but the man claimed he didn't have any. When asked to step out of the car, things escalated fast. The driver hit the gas and sped off, kicking off a high-speed chase. What followed was pure chaos.
No.
Center line's blocking. It's up in the grass. Just parallel. All right, we got the lead again from center line. He's jumping through the grass just south of 10 and east on Lawrence. Somebody go to Sherwood in 10 mile for me.
The suspect weaved through traffic, darted across grassy areas, and pushed the pedal to the floor in a desperate bid to escape. Officers tracked him through side streets and parking lots, radioing updates as they tried to keep up. Despite the driver's erratic moves, police were hot on his tail. But then came the moment that changed everything.
Give him some rope. Traffic over. Rebound. Speed's 80 coming up to Ryan. Alright, approaching Ryan. Center lane. Speed's 100. Alright, he's slowing for Ryan. It's a red.
Racing down a busy road, the driver ran a red light at high speed. Tragically, he collided with a large box truck, and the impact was catastrophic. The Chevrolet Cruze ended up wedged beneath the truck, its crumpled remains barely recognizable. Officers rushed to the scene, but it was too late. The driver was pronounced dead right there on the spot.
1050 into a box truck. He's underneath the box truck. Airbags deployed. Let's shut this intersection down.
During a search of the vehicle, officers discovered a handgun on the floor, adding another layer of mystery to the tragic event. Warren Police Commissioner Bill Dwyer summed it up grimly. Fleeing the police unfortunately cost his driver his life. What started as a routine stop over an expired plate ended in heartbreak, leaving everyone involved shaken by the tragic outcome.
It's so funny. Look at my son right here. I just told him I'm finna kill his ass. You hear me? That's fucked up, cuz, on my soul, nigga. But see, everybody think I'm joking, right? I'm playing, right? After everything, all I wanted was a conversation. I told you, nigga. All you had to do was talk to me, nigga.
On August 6, 2022, a heartbreaking tragedy unfolded in Oklahoma City when 29-year-old FRSW Lil John went live on social media, just moments before ending his own life and those of his 3 young children.
Live broadcasting, making threats about harming himself and harming children. We had lots of officers flooding the streets. We were in the process of issuing an Amber Alert. He executed the 3 children he had in his car, his own children, and then turned the gun on himself.
It all started when little John left his home with his kids in the car, eventually parking in a quiet neighborhood. At 4:11 a.m., a concerned family member saw his alarming live stream and immediately contacted the police. Officers were dispatched right away, but tragically, they couldn't locate him in time. Hours later, at 7:25 a.m., a passerby made the grim discovery: Lil John's vehicle with 4 lifeless bodies inside. He was live broadcasting, making threats about harming himself and his children. A police official stated, "We had officers flooding the streets, and we were in the process of issuing an Amber Alert. Sadly, their efforts came too late."
This gonna be the last time. This be the last video I make. Nigga, God rest my soul. Wook, over your foreman, you are responsible for your part in this too. You chose to be a destroyer, right? It's okay, fine. You hold this. Take this with you. Tater. Wow. Nigga. After everything I gave you, cuz. After everything, all I wanted was a conversation. I told you, nigga. All you had to do was talk to me, nigga. Couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. You want to go lay up with a nigga and get fucked and nigga, whatever the case. You're slick, my nigga. You lied, my nigga. And you have given yourself to men. You have given me STD behind this shit. And carry this torch, baby. And no, I gave you a choice, and you chose this. Oh, you're so scared, right? Okay.
When police arrived at the scene, one witness described seeing blood on the ground beneath the car. The cops rushed in like nothing I'd ever seen before, the witness recalled. That's when we realized this was more than just a man who'd hurt himself.
I saw blood on the ground under the car. The police came right away. I haven't seen cops act like that. Well, that's how we started to get an idea that there was more than just a man who had shot himself.
Investigations later revealed that Lil John's drastic actions appeared to be linked to an ongoing domestic dispute. The 3 innocent children were identified as 3-year-old Trinity Lil John, 4-year-old Aaliyah Lil John, and 6-year-old Kieran Lil John. Young lives taken far too soon in a devastating act that left the community in shock. Almost exactly 1 year after the devastating October 7th attacks on Israel in 2023, the final moments of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar were captured on a live drone feed. In the footage, Sinwar is seen sitting in a chair inside what appears to be an abandoned building. He looks injured, his face partially covered by a keffiyeh. As the drone hovers closer, Sinwar grabs a stick and hurls it at the camera in a desperate attempt to stop it. Moments later, reports confirmed that IDF troops moved in and ended the standoff. A shocking case of road rage turned deadly when a man was convicted of murder after intentionally ramming his car into an electric bike rider. The tragic incident unfolded after what seemed to be a heated altercation, escalating to a horrifying conclusion. Authorities revealed that the driver deliberately targeted the cyclist, striking them with enough force to end their life. The court didn't hold back, finding the driver guilty of murder, sealing his fate behind bars. Sabina Nessa, a 28-year-old teacher with a bright future, tragically lost her life on September 17, 2021, and heartbreakingly, it was at the hands of a man she had never even met. This wasn't some random act of violence. Her killer, Kosi Salamaj, had carefully planned everything. A week before the murder, Salamaj booked a room at the Grand Hotel in Eastbourne. CCTV footage shows him calmly checking in, then heading to a nearby supermarket to buy a rolling pin, a chilling sign that he had deadly intentions. But what's even more unsettling is how normal he seemed through it all, like just another guy going about his day. Prosecutors believe Salamaj lurked in Gator Park, waiting for the perfect moment. When Sabina walked by, he ambushed her, striking her 34 times with an emergency traffic triangle he'd grabbed from his car, apparently deciding it was a better weapon than the rolling pin. As if that wasn't horrific enough, he then carried her body into the woods and strangled her to ensure she wouldn't survive. What makes this tragedy even more haunting is that Sabina had no connection to her killer. She was simply the victim of his cold and calculated violence.
I just want to say thank you for everyone who came here to show the support and respect for my sister. We have lost an amazing, caring, beautiful sister who left this world far too early. She didn't reach her 29th birthday next month. Sabina loved her family. We had lost our sister. My parents have lost their daughter. And my girls have lost such a brilliant, loving, caring auntie who dearly loved her.
Imagine tuning into your local morning news, expecting the usual headlines and weather report, only to witness something absolutely horrifying unfold live on air. That's exactly what happened on August 26, 2015 in Roanoke, Virginia. Viewers of WDBJ-7 were shocked as reporter Allison Parker and cameraman Adam Ward were tragically gunned down during a live broadcast. The attack also injured Vicki Gardner, the woman Parker had been interviewing at the time. The man responsible, Vester Lee Flanagan, a former employee of the very station Parker and Ward worked at. But what drove him to commit such a horrific act? As details emerged, it became clear that Flanagan wasn't just some random shooter. He had a troubled past. Colleagues described him as a hothead with a reputation for stirring up drama. In fact, his volatile behavior had already gotten him fired from multiple TV stations across California, Florida, and Virginia. But why target Parker and Ward? Well, it turns out Parker may have been part of the reason Flanagan was let go from WDBJ-7. Reports suggest the two had ongoing tension at work, and Parker had eventually reported Flanagan to HR, a move that ultimately led to his dismissal. Flanagan, however, didn't see it that way. In his mind, he believed he was the victim, claiming he was targeted because of his race. In a chilling twist, Flanagan left behind a 23-page manifesto where he claimed the murders were in response to the Charleston church shooting that had killed 9 African Americans. Even more disturbingly, Flanagan had set up a Facebook account under the name Bryce Williams, where he posted cryptic messages and even uploaded a video of the attack from his own point of view. A nationwide manhunt followed, and by 11:30 a.m. that same day, police spotted Flanagan's car on Interstate 66. He refused to stop, sparking a high-speed chase that ended when his car crashed. Realizing he was cornered, Flanagan turned the gun on himself. He was still alive when officers reached his vehicle, but despite being rushed to the hospital, he died shortly after. It was a senseless tragedy that left an entire community and the nation in shock. Surveillance footage captured the chilling moment Cameron Dunn relentlessly pursued his victim, Derlano Samuels, in a brutal attack that ended in tragedy. The shocking video shows Dunn first confronting Samuels on the street, where the violence began. But it didn't end there. Desperate to escape, Samuels ran into a nearby shop, only for Dunn to follow close behind, knife in hand. What unfolded next was horrifying, as Dunn repeatedly stabbed Samuels inside the store. But Dunn's actions didn't stop there. CCTV then captured him calmly walking into another nearby shop, slipping the bloodied knife down his trousers in an attempt to conceal the weapon. Moments later, he casually cycled away from the scene as if nothing had happened. Following the investigation, Dunn was found guilty of murder, bringing some measure of justice to Samuel's grieving family. The footage serves as a haunting reminder of how a single act of violence can unfold in mere moments. This next clip was a key piece of evidence shown in court during the 2022 trial of Mackenzie Sherilla. The chilling footage captures the exact moment her Toyota Camry sped down the road at nearly 100 miles per hour, straight into a brick wall. Miraculously, Sherilla, who who was just 17 at the time, survived the devastating crash. But tragically, her two passengers, 20-year-old Dominic Russo and 19-year-old Davian Flanagan, didn't make it. At first, authorities believed the crash might have been a tragic accident, but as investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a disturbing truth. The crash wasn't an accident at all. It was deliberate. Prosecutors revealed that Shirella had intentionally driven her car at extreme speeds, with no attempt to brake or swerve, before slamming into the wall. Surveillance footage showed her actions were cold and calculated, and tragically, Dominic and Davian never saw it coming.
He observed at that time the defendant striking Dominic Russo with both hands, and that he overheard her make a statement, an admissible statement, and she said, "Dominic, I'm going to crash this car." We find that it is especially and important to her state of mind just 2 weeks later when she used a car to kill Dominic Russo.
The motive behind the horrifying act remains unclear, but the court ultimately found Shirella guilty of murder. In 2022, she was sentenced to 2 concurrent 15 years to life prison terms for her deliberate actions. This devastating case serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes those closest to us can have the darkest intentions, and one reckless decision can leave lives shattered forever. In a chaotic scene straight out of an action movie, police in Los Angeles found themselves locked in a high-stakes standoff with a gunman on Victory Boulevard in North Hollywood. It all started when officers responded to reports of a shooting. When they arrived, they found 37-year-old Sean Griffin holding a firearm. Witnesses claimed Griffin had already shot someone sitting in their car. As police moved in, Griffin turned his gun on them, sparking a wild shootout. Despite the hail of bullets, Griffin managed to escape on foot, but this wasn't over yet. Officers tracked him to another location where another exchange of gunfire broke out, yet somehow, Griffin slipped away again. His final stand came in a multi-story parking garage. Once cornered, Griffin fired at officers one last time, but this time, he was struck down. He was pronounced dead at the scene. When the dust settled, officers recovered a loaded firearm with 3 bullets remaining, along with extra rounds found on Griffin. Remarkably, no officers were injured during the intense ordeal. In a tragic accident, a Chinese tourist's quest for the perfect photo turned fatal during her visit to Colombo, Sri Lanka. While riding a moving train, she leaned out to pose for a picture, a common yet dangerous practice for travelers seeking those iconic railway shots. Unfortunately, as she leaned out, she was struck by tree branches lining the tracks, knocking her off the train. Despite emergency responders rushing to the scene, she did not survive the accident. This heartbreaking incident serves as a sobering reminder that viral photo trends can sometimes come at a devastating cost. In a shocking turn of events, Louise Dessau's arrest for drugs and ammunition possession took a deadly twist inside a London police station. During the COVID-19 lockdown, Dessau, an addict with Asperger syndrome, developed a fascination with weapons. He bought an antique revolver online and even made his own bullets at home. On September 24, 2020, police stopped him while he was walking the streets of South London. Inside his bag, officers found cannabis and several bullets. Though they didn't find the revolver, Dessau was taken to the Croydon police station for processing. There, Sergeant Matt Ratana calmly explained the charges against him and prepared to conduct a routine search.
I understand, stand up.
So please leave.
What?
Please leave. I think I'm going to parcel.
Okay, listen to me. My name's Matt, I'm the custody officer, right? I'm in charge. I'm not involved in the investigation. You've been arrested on suspicion of possession of bullets, ammunition, and possession with intent to supply.
Class B.
Class B, anything else?
No, that's it.
Alright, your detention's not been authorised yet, but I can authorise a search of you under section 54 of PACE.
But as Sergeant Ratana instructed him to stand, Dessau suddenly pulled out the hidden revolver from beneath his coat and fired. Despite being in a secure environment, Dessau had managed to smuggle the firearm past officers, ultimately resulting in the tragic death of Sergeant Ratana.
Matt, you alright?
I want to take them!
Matt,
I'll blow it! I'll blow it!
Matt, come away, come away.
The shocking incident left the law enforcement community devastated and underscored the unpredictable dangers officers face even in controlled settings. In a shocking courtroom twist, emotions boiled over when 27-year-old Cristiano Alves Turto took justice into his own hands. During a jury session for his father's murder trial, Turto suddenly pulled out a gun and shot 38-year-old Francisco Clejaldo Mariano Diura 6 times, right in the middle of the courtroom. As if that wasn't enough, Turto then struck Diura with a firearm before being subdued. Diura was rushed to a nearby hospital and incredibly survived the attack. Meanwhile, Turto fled the scene but was quickly tracked down and arrested for attempted murder. He's been in custody ever since, and the trial, now marred by this shocking act of violence, still waits a new date. This tragic story unfolds with Jason Brock Banks and Aaron Ray spending a night out together, hitting several bars and enjoying themselves. CCTV captured the couple moving through town until around 3 a.m., with Aaron seen wearing a white t-shirt, but things took a dark turn once they returned home. Aaron discovered messages on Jason's phone, explicit chats with other users on the dating app Grindr. Fueled by anger and jealousy, Aaron recorded himself scrolling through the messages. Shortly after, things escalated violently. Aaron attacked Jason in the bathroom of their student accommodation, fatally stabbing him in both the back and abdomen. When Jason's parents couldn't reach him the next day, they contacted the building manager, who unlocked the room and found Jason's body on the bathroom floor. In court, it was revealed that after the attack, Aaron casually walked to the communal kitchen to leave the knife before heading to Newcastle Central Station to grab a taxi to Sunderland. Despite claiming he didn't realize Jason had been fatally injured, the evidence told a different story. What started as a night out tragically ended in heartbreak, a grim reminder of how jealousy and anger can spiral out of control. The tragic Buffalo shooting in 2022 was one of the most heartbreaking and unforgettable events of that year. Out of the countless mass shootings that plagued the United States, this one stood out for its brutal nature and the chilling fact that it was broadcast live. On May 14, 2022, an 18-year-old named Peyton Gendron took to Twitch, streaming his horrifying actions in real time. But this wasn't some attention-seeking stunt. Gendron had one grim goal in mind: hurt as many people as possible. He drove to a Tops-friendly market in Buffalo's East Side neighborhood, an area known for its large black community, a fact Gendron had deliberately considered when picking its target. Armed like he was heading into battle, Gendron arrived at the supermarket parking lot just before 2:30 p.m. The chilling video shows him stepping out of his car and immediately opening fire, shooting 4 people outside the store and killing 3 of them. Twitch quickly cut the live stream, but Gendron continued his rampage inside. He shot 8 more people, killing 6 of them. Among the victims was former Buffalo police officer Aaron Salter Jr., who had been working as a security guard at the store. Salter tried to stop Gendron, but his bulletproof armor blocked the shot. Gendron fired back, tragically killing Salter on the spot. In a disturbing moment that further exposed Gendron's motive, he briefly aimed his gun at a white person hiding behind the counter, but quickly apologized and moved on. By 2:26 p.m., police had arrived and convinced Gendron to surrender peacefully. He was arrested and later charged with first-degree murder. Shockingly, when his trial began, Gendron pleaded not guilty, a move that stunned many, but his tactics didn't work. He was ultimately found guilty of all charges, including murder, domestic terrorism, and hate crimes. Gendron was sentenced to 11 consecutive life sentences without the chance of parole, with additional federal charges still pending. The Buffalo shooting remains a devastating reminder of the dangers of hate-fueled violence and the innocent lives that are stolen as a result. Franz Reichelt, a French tailor and parachute pioneer, had a bold vision. He believed he could create a wearable parachute suit that would allow pilots to survive an emergency mid-air exit. Known as the Flying Tailor, Reichelt was determined to prove his invention could save lives. After testing his parachute suit on dummies with some early success, Reichelt decided it was time to put his creation to the ultimate test by jumping himself. Despite receiving permission to conduct a test using a dummy at the Eiffel Tower, Reichelt insisted on making the jump in person. On February 4, 1912, against the pleas of onlookers who tried to stop him, Reichelt climbed the Eiffel Tower dressed in his homemade parachute suit. Moments later, he stepped off the platform, leaping from a height of 57 meters, 187 feet. Tragically, his parachute failed to deploy, and Reichelt plummeted to his death. Some reports suggest that his fatal jump was one of the first ever deaths captured on film, a haunting reminder of how ambition and innovation can sometimes end in tragedy. The tragic murder of Keenan Forbes, better known as AKA, shook South Africa and left fans around the world heartbroken. On February 10, 2023, news broke that the popular rapper had been gunned down, sparking confusion and disbelief. Many hoped it was just another cruel internet hoax, but when CCTV footage emerged, the grim truth was undeniable. In the chilling video, AKA is seen outside a restaurant in Durban, casually chatting with friends. Out of nowhere, a gunman sneaks up behind him, fires a shot at point-blank range, and bolts from the scene. The crowd erupts in chaos, with people diving for cover, unsure where the deadly shot had come from. Sadly, AKA wasn't the only victim. His close friend, celebrity chef and entrepreneur Tebelo Tibbs Motsoani, was also fatally shot that night. The double murder devastated their community and left fans demanding answers. Was this a targeted hit, gang violence, or something even more sinister? While speculation ran wild, police worked tirelessly behind the scenes. Investigators later confirmed they had recovered the murder weapon in the getaway car. Even more promising, authorities claimed they had identified the shooter, though they kept those details tightly under wraps. With the investigation still unfolding, South Africans and fans worldwide are anxiously waiting for justice to be served. One thing's for sure, the senseless killing of AKA and Tibbs has left a void in the music industry that won't be easily filled. The chilling story of 26-year-old chef Marriage Heko is as bizarre as it is tragic. On July 25th, 2022, Heko was seen stumbling back to the scene of a brutal murder, visibly intoxicated and rambling about what had happened. The home he approached belonged to Stephanie Bream, Heko's former romantic partner. After their relationship ended in May 2022, Heko had struggled to move on, especially after learning Stephanie had begun dating 44-year-old Adrian Ellingford, a married man. On that fateful July night, Ellingford woke up muttering something about someone being in the house before suddenly collapsing. A horrified Stephanie found a knife plunged into his back. Tragically, Ellingford was pronounced dead at the scene. The next morning, Heko showed up at the crime scene again, still intoxicated, clutching a bottle. Despite his drunken bravado, Heko's bizarre behavior and incriminating comments sealed his fate.
What happened? And you need me to figure it out what happened. If you don't have me, you don't know what happened. I just know that some guy come here.
Yeah.
And then he up some guy. I don't know what happened.
Right.
I don't know what happened. He just got You're gonna think about me, but it's not gonna be me because there's no proof.
So you think something's happened to a male in this address?
No, I know what happened.
What happened then? Tell me what happened.
This city is mine. I'm not gonna
This
tell you
city's
what
yours, is it?
Yeah, this city is mine.
3 days later, authorities arrested and charged him with murder. He was sentenced to a minimum of 26 years behind bars. The tragic outcome not only left a family mourning the loss of a loved one, but also showcased how heartbreak, obsession, and reckless behavior can spiral into something truly horrific. This shocking case out of Miami-Dade has left residents shaken after police arrested a man accused of attempting 2 separate abductions within hours of each other. Brian Gamboa, now behind bars without bond, is facing serious charges after these disturbing incidents. The first attack happened outside South Miami Hospital when a 38-year-old woman was walking to visit a patient. Surveillance footage shows Gamboa grabbing the woman, forcing her to the ground, and trying to drag her to his car. Witnesses say he even punched her and ordered her to be quiet. Thankfully, she managed to escape by running into the hospital for help. Disturbingly, she later told investigators that Gamboa had zip ties on him at the time of the attack, a chilling detail that suggests he may have planned to restrain her.
To the victim, he had some zip ties on him as well.
Less than 30 minutes later, Gamboa allegedly tried to abduct a second victim, this time a teenage girl walking alone near Southwest 86th Street.
I was on the phone with my friends walking, and then a car pulled up 10 feet in front of me, not like 6 foot, and then some guy came out and tried to grab me.
The teen recalled that Gamboa's car pulled up about 10 feet ahead of her before he jumped out and grabbed her. She struggled and managed to break free, though she ended up with scraped knees in the process.
He tried to push me to the ground, and I got back up as quickly as possible. That's why my knees are messed up.
Both victims' quick thinking likely saved their lives. Gamboa was arrested shortly after and now faces 2 counts of attempted kidnapping. His next court appearance is scheduled for this coming Friday, and he's currently being held without bond. This case serves as a chilling reminder to always stay alert, even in familiar areas. Thankfully, both victims managed to escape, but authorities are urging anyone with additional information to come forward. This tragic footage captures the harrowing final moments of Anir Teriyaki, a young man who tried desperately to outrun his fate. On August 9, 2017, Anir was heading home to Rockburg Park, where he lived with his parents. Little did he know, 2 men were lying in wait, believed to have ties to an incarcerated drug dealer suspected of ordering Anir's murder from behind bars. As soon as they spotted Anir, the 2 men sprang into action. The chilling video shows him sprinting for his life, fear etched on his face. His pursuers moved swiftly, one of them gripping the weapon they would soon use to end his life. Anir's instincts told him to run, but tragically he didn't make it far. Just a few steps from his house, the attackers caught up to him and fired. The last glimpse of Anir in the video, dashing past the screen in sheer terror, is the final time he was seen alive. This heartbreaking case reminds us how quickly life can change. One moment of violence in a family's world is turned upside down forever. Authorities continue to investigate the deeper connections behind this calculated attack, hoping justice will prevail. This tragic story unfolds on a London-bound train on January 4th, a day that would end in heartbreak. 36-year-old Darren Penseal boarded the train first, followed shortly by Lee Pomeroy, an IT consultant, and his 14-year-old son. It started as a simple dispute. Penseal accused Pomeroy of blocking the aisle. While there's no audio in the CCTV footage, the tension between the two is unmistakable. The argument escalated quickly, with both men moving into a neighboring carriage to continue their confrontation. Moments later, things took a violent turn. In a chilling scene too graphic for public release, Penseal stabbed Lee Pomeroy 18 times in just 25 seconds, a brutal and frenzied attack. Witnesses Christopher and Megan Feiberg had seen the 2 men grabbing each other's collars before fleeing the carriage. Megan recalled that Pomeroy appeared pretty angry while Penseal reportedly threatened him, telling him to get off at the next station. Adding to the tragedy, Pomeroy's 14-year-old son recounted the terrifying ordeal in court, describing his father as a tall man who may have seemed intimidating. The young boy heard Penseal's threat and feared what was coming. After the attack, Penseal fled the train at Clarendon Station, leaving devastation behind. His girlfriend, Chelsea Mitchell, faced charges as well, accused of assisting an offender, though she denied any involvement. While Penseal admitted to possessing a knife, he claimed he wasn't guilty of murder. The case left a family shattered, and a community mourning a senseless act of violence that unfolded in just moments. This tragic situation unfolded on December 1st, 2023, in Lansing, Michigan, when police responded to a domestic violence call that escalated quickly. It all started when a distressed woman called 911, explaining that her drunk and violent husband had slapped her across the face and had a handgun. She claimed he had thrown the gun in the car, but she had possession of it.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
Massachusetts Avenue.
Massachusetts Avenue?
Yes, Lansing, Michigan.
Perfect, and then your name? Can you tell me exactly what happened?
My husband's really drunk, and he just slapped me across my face, and he's just really super drunk, and he's getting violent.
Okay, did he have any weapons on him?
He did, but he threw it in the car, so I have it.
What did he use or have?
He has a gun.
Moments later, a neighbor called 911 as well, reporting they had heard a gunshot and a woman crying. Shortly after that, the victim's daughter also contacted the authorities, confirming her stepfather had slapped her mother and fired a shot, though thankfully no one had been hit.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
Massachusetts Avenue.
Is this...
No, this is my daughter.
What's going on? Is she hurt?
Yes, my stepdad slapped her. We can hear more.
Did he shoot her?
No, but he shot a gun to scare her.
By the time officers arrived, they encountered the armed suspect outside. They immediately instructed him to show his hands and get on the ground. At first, the man complied by going down on his knees, but suddenly, he reached for the gun in his waistband. In that split second, officers had no choice but to open fire to neutralize the threat. They quickly administered first aid, but tragically, the man later succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. This heartbreaking incident underscores how domestic violence situations can escalate rapidly, putting both victims and responding officers at extreme risk. On August 20th, 2023, in the Harrow household, 10-year-old Catalina was just relaxing at home when something terrible happened. Officers responding to a shooting found Catalina lying in a pool of blood. Her devastated family stood outside, barely able to speak. Her father, Philip Harrow, eventually admitted that he'd been cleaning his guns earlier that day and left them out. While Philip had stepped outside to talk to a friend, his 8-year-old son and a 12-year-old friend found the guns and began playing with them. That's when one accidentally fired, striking Catalina in the neck.
Where'd she shot at? Turn around, there's me a gunshot wound. Can you guys get out the here? Yeah, I got it, watch out. Alright, wait right here, okay? Just wait right here. Wait right here. Shot in the neck. Got the gunshot wound here. I only touched her a little bit, but ran some pulse checks. She was gone when I got here. Shot in the neck. Where's the gun? I don't know. I haven't seen none. I can't have nobody leaving. What happened, man?
I'm not sure. I was cleaning up.
You were cleaning up?
Yes.
Is there a firearm in your house?
There is. They should all be in the safe. I'm just barely cleaning.
Last time you guys saw her?
She was asleep. I went and checked on her because I took a shower and that was it. She was just asleep.
And what time was that?
Like at 12.
Okay.
But she was fine.
Is that the last time you guys saw her? Okay.
How long has it been?
The last time she was checked on was at 12. What happened?
I just heard him, he was just laying down and then I just heard him start screaming, Catalina was shot, and I ran so fast and I didn't even process what was going on. I tried to hear like that. I could hear him in his voice, he was scared. He started crying when he seen me.
That little boy.
What the happened? Is she okay?
Her babe.
No! You can't do this to me!
That's my wife.
I know.
What happened? My child is gone!
Working on her, baby.
Jesus, what the happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? No, it was them too. They were What did you do? What do you mean with him? You don't do what happened? What happened and what injuries did she have? Y'all don't know what the happened, guys. Mom just left him here. And he's been trouble. But I tried with him and I tried with this little boy. He's done a lot. Please tell me my daughter's gonna be okay. She's not?
She has a gunshot wound right here.
Are you serious to her head?
Right, kind of where her neck meets her head. They're working on her. As of right now, she has a pulse.
Philip was later arrested and charged with negligently making a firearm accessible to a minor and tampering with evidence. He's now facing up to 18 months in prison and a $10,000 fine. Catalina fought hard for her life, but tragically she passed away the next day at the hospital. And then there's Kathleen Davis, a grandmother from Florida, who seemed determined to land herself in jail.
Okay. Sir. Hey, you sit down on the car. Sit down on the car.
Can you put me in jail for that?
Hold on.
Please?
Just you wait.
Because I wanted
We'll talk about it once.
On September 21st, 2017, Kathleen called 911 to report her own crime because she wanted to go to jail. She had thrown eggs at her son-in-law Michael's house, then jumped in her car and tried to run him down. When officers boxed her in, Kathleen didn't hesitate to confess. She was furious with Michael, claiming he had been harassing her for over 2 years and had ruined her relationship with her daughter by revealing their past affair. Kathleen openly admitted that she had intended to hit Michael and was fully prepared to face the consequences.
I wanted to hit him.
Okay.
Sir.
Hey, you sit down on the car.
I wanted to...
On the car.
Can you put me in jail for that?
Hold on.
Please?
Just you wait.
Because I wanted to...
We'll talk about it in 1 second.
Listen, it's attempted murder. It is. It's attempted murder.
Okay.
It's attempted murder.
Okay.
It's attempted murder.
Just relax.
And I totally admit to it.
Okay.
Okay? He has a record a mile long, by the way.
Okay.
He's a criminal in the city.
Well, hey, let's do something real quick,
Get
okay?
out here, piece.
Did you hit this car on purpose? Been harassing you for how long now?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. How does he harass you?
He threatens me.
Threaten how? What does he threaten?
To threaten me, he tells me that he's going to tell my daughter that we had a relationship. Okay? You know what
Yeah,
that does to somebody
that's not
with a
nice.
mom
That's special.
and a
Yeah,
daughter?
that's gonna mess up your relationship. You don't want that.
Well, my daughter now doesn't want to have a relationship with me. And, well,
Because he's making up lies.
No, he's not making up lies. I did. I had a relationship with this guy.
Okay, and that kind of ruined your relationship with the daughter?
Yeah.
Okay, and so he told her that was
But
going
he, listen, darling, he only did it so he could ruin my hand.
on. Okay.
You know, it wasn't anything like that.
Oh, I see
But
what you're saying.
He used me so he could get to her.
Okay.
His father is in the mob.
Okay.
He's got a criminal record a mile long. I'm a pastor's wife. Hello.
Okay.
Haha.
What is your first name? I haven't caught your first name yet.
My name is Kathleen.
Nice to meet you. I'll shake your arm. Just have a seat for me. Just
And,
sit down. I'm going to find your ID so I know who you are, Kathleen. You want to...
Oh, yeah.
Is that what your intention was here today?
No. It was just throw eggs on his car.
Throw eggs.
And if he ran in front of my car,
Okay.
Sit back down.
yes.
All right, with your right to mind, why'd you come over here tonight?
To throw eggs at his house.
Why?
Because he deserves to die.
All right.
Okay? Okay. Hey, Gabe! That's my grandson.
That's
by the
fine.
way.
Turn around. Let me just check this cuff.
You can make him harder. I deserve it.
You said hotter?
Make him
Or
harder.
harder?
You can make him harder. Listen, I'm telling you, I don't care what I did. There's nothing, I don't feel bad for what I did. This man has ruined my life, and he's ruined my children's life. He's a predator, and he has a record a mile long. I don't feel bad for what I did.
She was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and sentenced to 3 years of probation. She was also ordered to stay away from Michael, take an anger management course, and avoid drugs and alcohol. This haunting footage reveals a chilling attempt to cover a horrific crime, one that no one could have expected. It all started with a routine phone call. Brenda, a concerned mother, was speaking with university staff about her daughter Sydney. During that conversation, something went terribly wrong. By the time police arrived at the house, they could hear Sydney's terrified screams. She ran out to meet the officers, desperate to stop them from going inside. She warned them about the blood, but her panicked behavior didn't quite add up.
I can hear her screaming in there. Front door's locked. Akron Police! Akron Police!
Moments later, she changed her story, claiming that someone had broken in.
She's in the ground. So there's...
Who is it?
My mom! There's someone broke in the back window.
All right, hold on.
And she's on the ground. And there's
Hold on. Where's your mom? Okay, stay right here.
No, there's so much blood. No, please.
Man!
She's in the corner now. No!
Stop! Hold on, we gotta figure out what's going on. Can you sit down? Can you sit down? Car 9, get that 32 rolling here quick. We got a female down, blood all over the place. Start some more units, we got a crime scene. Take her outside. Come on. Come on.
Is she gonna be okay?
Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
You just need to cooperate, alright?
What you got?
No, there's blood all over. I don't even know if she's bleeding.
All right, I'm grabbing my gloves.
Secure the scene. She looks like a 22. She looks like she's been down for a while. There's blood all over the place. There's a knife by her head and stuff like that, and there's a huge pool of blood.
When officers stepped inside, they discovered a gruesome scene. Brenda had been stabbed nearly 30 times and struck with a heavy object. Despite their efforts to revive her, she had no pulse. Meanwhile, Sydney's father, Stephen, arrived at the house with no idea what had just happened.
All right?
I want my dad.
Huh?
I want my dad.
What happened? What's going on? What's going on?
We heard a bang. We heard a bang. And she told me to get out. And then I heard screaming. So I came back and she was on the ground.
Okay, you heard a bang.
Back. There was a bang. Someone broken.
Okay. What is your name?
Sydney.
Are you cut?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're cut somewhere.
I don't think so.
Yeah, your hand.
No, I was helping her. I grabbed her.
All right, stop. I'll tell you what, can you sit on the ground here real quick? Come on. Come on.
You said the ground.
Yeah, you're fine right there.
No.
You're fine right there.
I grabbed the knife.
This is minor. They might have a more, I don't know, check that victim in there. She's got cuts on her hands. I don't know what they have in there, but there's a female down in there. Yeah.
Earlier that day, Stephen had received a call from the university informing him that Sydney was no longer enrolled. He had planned to talk to Brenda about it, but before he could, he got another call. This time it was from the police.
I don't know. We just got
Dad. I'm the dad.
Okay,
Sydney. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Daddy!
What the hell? Where's my wife?
The window's broken, Dad!
Where?
The back window's broken in!
So you're gonna have to.
Daddy!
There's officers inside there, so.
I don't know! There was so much
the lady in the
blood!
house, okay? She's got minor cuts here.
You need to go outside, sir.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Outside. Back to
Somebody
the right.
call
All the way back to the
Somebody
right.
call GDs.
Yeah, he's
Somebody
he already
call
called us. You need to stay outside. Go ahead. Please have a seat.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Outside the house, Sydney played the role of a confused victim, lying on the ground, acting disoriented, and dodging questions. But investigators soon uncovered the truth. Inside the home, they found two murder weapons, a frying pan and a large knife. Bloodstains, shattered glass, and footprints littered the scene.
2 throat slashed. Yeah.
Still alive?
There's a big knife right there. Don't think so. Big old frying pan. There is a knife by her shoulder, just so you know.
Who did this?
We don't know.
I don't feel a pulse.
I'd not feel one either.
It became clear this wasn't some random break-in. It was something far worse. As detectives pieced the puzzle together, they discovered Sydney had been living a lie. Once an excellent student, her grades had started to slip, and she eventually faced suspension. Instead of telling her family, Sydney kept pretending everything was fine, even continuing to attend classes. When the university finally informed her father that she'd been expelled, the truth began to unravel. That morning, Sydney returned home, and shortly after, Brenda contacted the university asking for answers. When they confirmed Sydney's suspension, something inside her snapped. In a fit of rage, Sydney grabbed a frying pan and struck her mother repeatedly. But she didn't stop there. In an attempt to stage a robbery, she grabbed a knife and stabbed Brenda over 30 times. Even worse, Brenda was still alive for a while after the attack. But instead of calling for help, Sydney worked to sell her fake story. She punched a window to create injuries on herself, then lay on the ground crying, all part of her act. Later, it came to light that Sydney had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, something she had kept secret. Her defense claimed she suffered a mental breakdown during the attack.
Healing was not an option in her mind. In her mind, if she failed, then she was a failure. And I think that is when some of the early manifestations of thought disorder, some of the early auditory hallucinations were manifest, but again, she didn't seek or couldn't seek help because, you know, if you're a successful graduate, student, athlete at Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's, you don't do that. And it was just, it was inconsistent with her picture of herself.
But detectives weren't convinced. They argued that her calculated lies to both her father and the police proved she knew exactly what she was doing. In September 2023, Sydney was convicted of murder, felonious assault, and tampering with evidence for the crime committed in 2020. She was sentenced to life in prison, with parole eligibility after 15 years. However, with the new trial set for February 7th, her case is now under review. No matter what the final verdict may be, this story is a haunting reminder of the devastating impact of untreated mental health struggles. Pain that's ignored doesn't just disappear, it builds, and sometimes it leads to unimaginable heartbreak. The saddest part of all, the silent suffering that went unnoticed until it was far too late. Not everyone gets the chance to showcase their evil deeds on live TV, but some take it even further, broadcasting their twisted acts for the world to see. That's exactly what happened in the chilling case of Nermin Sulejmanovic, a bodybuilder from the Bosnian town of Gatakak. On that horrific day, Nermin went live on Instagram, telling his followers they were about to witness an execution. At first, viewers were confused. Some even thought he was joking, but it didn't take long for the grim reality to unfold. The camera panned to his ex-wife, Nizama, who was tied to a chair. Her face was swollen and bruised, almost unrecognizable. It was clear Nermin had already beaten her severely, but shockingly, he wasn't done. With around 12,000 horrified viewers watching the live stream, Nermin pulled out a gun and shot Nizama in the head. The chilling sound of the gunshot was followed by the heart-wrenching cries of their young daughter in the background. As if that wasn't enough, Nermin claimed during the stream that his reason for murdering Nizama was because she had kept their child from him for 8 days. But this nightmare didn't end there. Fueled by rage, Nermin stormed into the streets and went on a shooting spree. In his path, he claimed the lives of a father and his son, while a police officer was also injured, though fortunately he survived. By the time authorities caught up with him, Nermin had taken his own life before they could arrest him. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a disturbing history. Nermin wasn't just a fitness trainer. He had a long rap sheet involving drug possession, smuggling, and even hacking a police officer. He was also tied to a notorious gang known for spreading chaos in the area. Tragically, his innocent ex-wife paid the ultimate price for his violent past. And the most horrifying part, thousands of people witnessed her final moments unfold in real time. The footage captures the grief-stricken grandmother of 2 young boys whose lives were tragically cut short in a harrowing incident involving their mother, Tiffany. What began as an ordinary day quickly spiraled into a nightmare when neighbors were startled by Tiffany's desperate cries for help. She collapsed in a neighbor's driveway, frantically pleading for assistance, claiming her children were in grave danger. Concerned by her distress, a neighbor rushed inside the home, only to be met with a shocking and heartbreaking scene. The 2 young boys, critically injured but still clinging to life, lay motionless.
County 911, where's your emergency?
219 Bentwood Drive, Shepherdsville, Kentucky, 40165. My neighbor just came up to my door and just passed out, and I can't get her to wake up. She's
okay, is she breathing?
She is. I would say in her early 30s. And now she's screaming that the kids are dying. Stay here. She is breathing, yes.
Do you know if she has any medical history?
I have no idea. I don't care, no. I don't care. I just don't.
Emergency services were called immediately, and paramedics fought to save them. But despite their best efforts, the tragedy could not be undone. As authorities arrived and assessed the situation, Tiffany was taken into custody, leaving the community in shock and her own family struggling to comprehend the unthinkable.
She conscious? She conscious? Ma'am, what's your name? Huh? Tiffany. I can't hear you. Tiffany? Mm-hmm. All right, Tiffany, I'm going to change these handcuffs out, okay? And then I'm going to roll you over and I'm going to sit you up, all right? Now I'm going to pick your hands up so you can take these off. Do not struggle, do you understand me? You're going to sit up at the same time. You understand? 1, 2, 3. Take this leg, fold it in, make that foot touch your knee. No, to the side, on the ground. Now, we're going to roll again this way, and I'm going to assist you up on your feet, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Head is that woman's on the other side.
Yeah. Oh, you got her.
Yeah, she's in my car.
She wasn't injured. I didn't see any injuries on her.
Looks like she peed herself.
Yeah, she probably pissed herself. I don't know why.
I've been here before with CPS on an investigation over here with the kids, and they wouldn't let them in. It's been about a year, but yeah. That's the only time I've ever had to come back here for anything other than paperwork, subpoenas and stuff.
Stand here with him. I'm going to get my wand. Okay. I'm going to do that myself. You got a light? Will this light turn on? Okay. This is just the wand, okay? It's just to check you. You got anything on you? Nothing?
I shot myself.
Huh?
I shot myself in the head.
You what?
Shot myself in my ear.
You shot yourself in the ear? What's ear?
This one.
I don't see anything.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? I mean, where are you from, or where you grew up, or anything like that?
I know I look crazy, but I'm not.
Huh?
If I know I look crazy, but I'm not crazy.
I don't think you look crazy. I'm just trying to, if I'm going to talk to someone, I'd rather know who they are. I can tell you a little bit about me.
I love my children.
You tell me a little bit about you. Okay.
I love my children. I love my boys so much.
Oh, I know.
I wouldn't hurt them, but I just feel like I felt back, and I was letting them play the video games, and I wasn't focusing how I was supposed to, and they get that video game and the YouTube and the kids, it just messes their minds up to where people can manipulate their parents or do whatever they want, and I feel like someone put something upon my house or me or something, I just don't feel right. I'm not, I don't do this. I love my kids.
The investigation unearthed troubling details about Tiffany's past, raising difficult questions about how she had reached such a dark place. Once a respected business owner, her descent into tragedy left many wondering if mental health struggles or outside influences had played a role in her actions.
He has been digging into Tiffany Lucas' background to find out more about her. We learned that she was once a business owner whom we interviewed actually in 2016. She had just opened Ms. Tiff's one-stop shop convenience store on West Broadway. We spoke with her 7 years ago about the impact as a young entrepreneur after Walmart pulled its plan to open a store in that same area.
A lot of people don't make their way down here, but if there's a Walmart, you come out of the woodworks for Walmart. So probably would have brought a lot of people to, stop and check us out.
Business records show her store closed in 2017. A year later, we found she pleaded guilty to drug charges and was sentenced to 30 days in jail. There's no criminal record between 2018 and last week.
As her family mourned the unbearable loss, they also sought justice for the boys whose lives had been taken too soon. The devastating cases served as a stark reminder of the importance of mental health awareness and the need for early intervention in struggling families. It underscored the necessity of recognizing warning signs, fostering open conversations about emotional well-being, and providing support for those in crisis. In the wake of the tragedy, the community was left on how such heartbreak could be prevented in the future. The loss of 2 innocent lives became a somber call to action, a reminder that protecting the most vulnerable requires vigilance, compassion, and a commitment to ensuring that those in need do not face their struggles alone. This animation tells the tragic story of Aeroflot Flight 593, a flight that ended in disaster under shocking circumstances. On March 23, 1994, the plane departed from Hong Kong bound for Moscow. Sadly, it never reached its destination. Instead, it crashed into a remote mountain range, killing all 75 passengers and crew on board. When investigators reviewed the cockpit voice recorder and flight data, they uncovered a chilling detail. The pilot's 15-year-old son had been in the cockpit that night. At some point, the teenager unknowingly deactivated the plane's autopilot. This caused the aircraft to bank sharply, tilting dangerously to one side before plunging into a near vertical dive. The pilots fought desperately to regain control and managed to stabilize the plane twice, but the aircraft eventually stalled, spiraling out of control. Tragically, it lost altitude too quickly, crashing into the mountains below. What started as an innocent moment in the cockpit turned into a devastating chain of events that claimed 75 lives, a heartbreaking reminder how even small mistakes can lead to unimaginable tragedy. This is one of those tragic stories that leaves people shaking their heads in disbelief. Josh Powell's actions were absolutely devastating, not just for his two innocent sons, but for everyone connected to the family. Despite losing custody of his children after his father's disturbing arrest, Powell still had supervised visits. What's chilling is how calculated this was, from locking the caseworker out to spreading gasoline throughout the house, and even attacking his boys before igniting the explosion. His final voicemail made it painfully clear that this was a premeditated act of destruction.
Hey, I'm on a supervised visitation for a court-ordered visit, and something really weird has happened. The kids went into the house, and the parent, the biological parent, whose name is Josh Powell, will not let me in the door. What should I do?
What's the address?
It's 8119, and I think it's 89. I don't know what the address is.
Okay. That's pretty important for me to know.
I'm sorry, I can't. Just a minute. Let me get in my car and see if I can find it. Nothing like this has ever happened before at these visitations, so I'm really shocked. And I could hear one of the kids crying, but he still wouldn't let me in. Okay, it is but I think I need help right away. He's on a very short lease with CSHS, and CPS has been involved. And this is the craziest thing. He looked right at me and closed the door. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just waiting to know where you are.
Okay. It's 8119 189th Street, Port East, Puyallup, 98375. And I'd like to pull out of the driveway because I smell gasoline and he won't let me in.
You want to pull out of the driveway because you smell gasoline, but he won't let you...
He won't let me in.
He won't let you out of the driveway?
He won't let me in the house.
Whose house is
He's got the
it?
kids in the house and he won't let me in. It's a supervised visit.
I understand. Whose house is it?
Josh Powell.
Okay, so you don't live there, right?
No, I don't. No, I'm contracted to the state to provide supervised visitation.
I see. Okay. And who is there to exercise their visitation?
I am. And the visit is with Josh Powell.
And who
And
supervises?
he is the husband that I supervise.
So you supervise and you're doing the visit?
Yeah,
you supervise yourself?
I supervise myself. I'm the supervisor here.
Wait a minute. If it's a supervised visit, you can't supervise yourself.
If you're the
I
visitor.
do supervise myself. I'm the supervisor for the supervised visit.
Okay, well, aren't you the one making the visit? Or is there another parent that you're supervising?
No, I'm the one that supervises. I pick up the kids at their grandparents.
Yes. And then who visits with the children?
Josh Powell.
Okay, so you're supposed to be there to supervise Josh Powell's visit with the children.
Yes, that's correct.
And
And he's the husband of missing Susan Powell. This is a high-profile case.
How did he gain access to the children before you got there?
I was one step in back of them.
Okay, so they went into the house and then he locked you out.
Yeah, he shut the door right in my face.
Now, your last name?
My name is Elizabeth Griffin Hall, and the kids have been in there by now approximately 10 minutes. And he knows this is a supervised visit. 2. Braden is 5, and Charlie is 7.
Their dad's last name?
Powell, P-O-W-E-L-L. His first name is Josh.
Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, native?
He's white.
Date of birth?
I don't know. He's about 39.
How tall?
5'10", 150 pounds.
Did you notice what he was wearing?
No, I didn't notice what he was wearing.
Is he alone then, or is anybody?
I don't know. I couldn't get in the house.
Are you in a vehicle now or on foot?
I'm in a vehicle. I'm in a Prius, a 2010 Prius.
What color
with the doors locked. But he hasn't opened the door. I rang the doorbell and everything.
What color
I begged him to let me in.
Elizabeth, please listen to my questions. What color is the Toyota Prius?
Gray, dark gray.
And the license number?
I don't know. I can look.
All right, we'll have somebody look for you there.
Okay, how long will it be?
I don't know, ma'am. They have to respond to emergency, life-threatening situations first. The first available deputy.
Well, this could be life-threatening. He went to court on Wednesday, and he didn't get his kids back. And this is really, I'm afraid for their lives.
Okay, has he threatened the lives of the children previously?
I have no idea.
All right, we'll have the first available deputy contact you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hello?
Hi, ma'am. Were you calling about the fire in the 8200 block of
Yes, he exploded the house.
Ma'am,
yes,
do you know the okay? Do you know the exact address of the house, or are you?
Yes, it's 8119 189th Street, Court East, 2 hours.
Okay, stand line. Do you know if anyone's in the house?
Yes, there was a man and 2 children. I just dropped off the children, and he wouldn't let me in the door.
Okay, stand line for the fire department. Okay, I'm going to get them on the line. Do not hang up. Hold on.
And people are saying there's not somebody here, but I was just there, and there is somebody here. There's 2 little boys in the house, and they're 5 and 7, and there's an adult man. He has supervised visitation, and he blew up the house and the kids. Kids and the husband and the father were in the house? Yeah. Yes, he slammed the door in my face. So I kept knocking. I thought it was a mistake. I kept knocking, and then I called 911. You saw him go back into the house in the plane, right before the plane? He didn't ever leave the house. He just opened the door. The kids were 1 step ahead of me. They're 5 and 7. They were 1 step ahead of me, and he slammed the door in my face. Do you think he might have done this intentionally? Yes.
Thank you very much, fire. Ma'am, what is your name, please?
I'm Elizabeth Griffin Hall, and I'm the supervisor.
Okay, hold on, Elizabeth. Hold on just a moment.
I'm at 81112 on the same court.
Okay, so you're waiting down the street at 8112 109th Street, Court, 189th Street, Court East.
Yes.
Okay. And are you in your car?
I was in my car. I'm standing outside it right now.
Okay, is that your home? Is that your home address?
No, that's not my home address. I was the supervised visitation coordinator. I picked the children up from the parents.
What is this person's name?
His name is Josh Powell. At the sheriff's here.
Okay, go ahead and talk in the house. Go ahead and talk to the officer, ma'am.
The lingering mystery of Susan Powell's disappearance only makes this story more haunting. Most people believe Josh was responsible for her death, but with him taking his own life, along with his children, any chance of finding out the full truth may have died with him. It's a heartbreaking reminder how complex family dynamics can turn fatal and how tragedy can unfold in the most unexpected ways. That's one of those shocking incidents that really sticks with you. Imagine being pulled over for something as routine as a tag violation, and then suddenly everything spirals into chaos. Officer Freeman's resilience is incredible. Being shot 5 times and still surviving is nothing short of remarkable.
the final stop's going to be 221 South Main.
Hey, sir, stay in your car. Hey, sir, stay in your car.
As for Curtis Hicks, it's thought that no clear motive was ever identified. Sometimes people seem to be carrying invisible battles that explode in unpredictable and tragic ways. The fact that he kept firing even after crashing his truck just shows how determined or desperate he was in that moment. Stories like this are a sobering reminder of how unpredictable police work can be. What starts as a routine stop can turn life-threatening in seconds. The fact that Clarence managed to survive because of the chimney falling on him is both tragic and incredible. Imagine thinking the tornado would miss them, only for it to strike with such devastating force. Losing his wife and neighbor in that same moment must have been overwhelming. Tornadoes are just so unpredictable. One moment you think you're safe, and the next, everything changes. Clarence's story really shows how powerful and destructive nature can be, no matter how prepared you feel. Antonio Andreani was all set to celebrate his 40th birthday in style, having rented a house in Italy for the party with family and friends gathered around. They even lifted him onto a podium so everyone could cheer him on. After wrapping up a phone call, Antonio jumped into the spotlight and started dancing, much to the delight of the crowd. But then, in a twist no one saw coming, tragedy hit. It turned out the podium was really the top of an old well. As Antonio danced, the stone slab gave way, and the 40-year-old commercial director plunged over 25 meters to his death. One of the girls nearby let out a blood-curdling scream as partygoers rushed to help, only to realize it was already too late. Back in September 2017, 19-year-old Kenika Jenkins was tragically found dead inside a latch freezer at the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. Earlier that night, Kenika had been at a party at the hotel, and security cameras later showed her stumbling through the hallways in the early hours of the morning. Sadly, her body was discovered hours later inside the freezer, where she had succumbed to hypothermia. An autopsy later revealed that Kenika had alcohol and topiramate, a medication used to treat migraines and epilepsy, in her system. Her death was ultimately ruled as accidental, though the circumstances surrounding it left many unanswered questions. Pilot error and a miscalculation of the plane's weight were believed to be the main causes behind the tragic crash of Cabana de Aviacion Flight 972. The flight took off from Havana's airport on May 18, 2018, but things went wrong shortly after. As the plane tried to gain altitude, it struggled due to a dangerous weight imbalance. CCTV footage captured the terrifying moment when the aircraft spiraled out of control before crashing to the ground. The chilling sound of the engines can be heard in the haunting footage. Sadly, 112 lives were lost, with only one passenger surviving. The survivor faced severe injuries, including an amputated leg and spinal damage that left her paralyzed from the waist down. The chilling moment when 18-year-old Edward Redmond realized he had just taken a life was caught on camera. He had stabbed 17-year-old Jay Whiston in the heart during a house party in Colchester back in 2012. About 90 minutes after the attack, Redmond received a text message informing him that Jay had died. The footage shows him panicking and making a series of frantic phone calls as the weight of his actions hit him. Redmond, who was from Clacton, was sentenced to 17 years in prison for the murder. The person seen sitting next to him in the footage, Reese Hennebury, was also jailed for his role in the crime. To make matters worse, Redmond's father, brother, and former girlfriend were all sentenced for trying to cover up the murder by getting rid of evidence. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, friends.